This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing okay. So first and foremost, I'm going to get to a bunch of listener mail that we received after our Thursday episode of the Weekly Scramble podcast, and I want to get to a couple of those, and I want to get back to each and every one of you. That was so nice to email in, but that was really, really appreciated. But the thing I wanted to start with on the show today, in addition to listener mail, Mike, is this story that you made me aware of, and I scour the earth for news stories for GL. Sure. And I'm stunned I knew nothing about this story until you just gave it to me just a few moments ago, because this story is fascinating. It's actually dated from last month, June 11th of 2025, and I have the BBC version of this. A man hoping to become the first person to complete an unbroken round-the-world walk is preparing for the last leg of his journey. Karl Bushby set off from Chile back in 1998. Since then, he has walked across American and Asian continents, swam 186 miles across the Caspian Sea, and fought off ice lumps and polar bears through the Bering Strait, all without using any form of transportation. The former paratrooper has less than He's down to 2,000 miles. He has less than 2,000 miles left to walk before he arrives at his home city of Hull. Mr. Bushby, who is currently in Mexico waiting for a visa to complete his challenge, has said returning home will be a very strange place to be after being away for some 27 years.
Think of that.
Following his 31-day swim across the Caspian Sea last year, Bushby said that he continued his journey to Azerbaijan, and then through Turkey. The traveler originally from Sutton Park said he had to step aside from his mission, named the Goliath Expedition, while he awaited for a visa. He hopes to continue his trek via Turkey in August before entering Europe. Mr. Bushby expects that it will take another year before he is on home soil and is aiming to arrive in Hull by September of 2026. Speaking on BBC Radio Humberside, Mr. Bushby said, on November 1st of 1998, you're literally looking down at a road that's 36,000 miles long and have no idea how you're going to do it. We've run into a lot of complications with visa problems, financial crisis, the pandemic. We've had it all. It's been extremely difficult, but we've always stuck to our guns and never been willing to compromise on the route. Bushby said that there had been a few occasions when he feared for his life, but he was mentally prepared for the tough encounters. He said, getting home, I just don't know. It's weird. It's a very strange place to be in where your purpose for living will have a hard stop. I'm hoping to transition into other things as quickly as possible, keeping mind, body, and soul on the move. He said reuniting with his family would involve getting to know each other again. The adventure was meant to take 12 years, but his global voyage has transcended more than 5 prime ministers, the COVID-19 pandemic, and numerous wars.
Man, wow. Reavers, so cartoon Bubble.
Sure.
The wife says something like, you're not doing anything around this house. Go ahead and take out that trash. And as he picks up that trash bag, he walks out to his garage and he sees his running shoes there. And he says, you know what? I'd rather walk around the frickin' world than come back to this. So I'm going to go take what he thought was going to be a 12-year walk, some 30,000 miles, but instead has gone for almost 30 years. Yeah. It'll be 28 years when he gets done. Think of that.
So as I'm reading the story, of course, the one thing that came to mind was Forrest Gump. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to think of the timeline of the Forrest Gump movie and his beginning of his adventure. And because Forrest Gump came out about, what, 94 or somewhere in there?
Yeah.
And he started this. I wonder if that was an inspiration to
Sure,
him.
maybe his girlfriend got AIDS and, right? Remember Jenny?
Maybe, yeah.
Jenny had AIDS. That's the whole kicker to that story, Forrest Gump.
So the part of the story, too, where he kept using the word we.
Yeah, who?
So I
Does
wonder,
he have multiple personalities?
Or was there someone assisting him that may have been a significant other or whatever?
Is there someone driving a car 4 miles per hour behind him?
Well, you can't swim 30 straight days.
That's what I thought too. What did they do? Did he swim out a mile, right, on day one? And then did they go pick him up and then come back a mile? And then the next day, take him out to that mile marker and have him swim the next mile? I mean,
Or do you station the boat?
Or you hop on a boat and you sit
sleep there
right?
for the night. I don't know.
I find these stories fascinating. This guy gave up when he said, my life's journey, this is it. Like, this is it. It's going to be done. And then at the end of that journey, do you think he's going to say, okay, I really just, because he's not going to get a bunch of accolades. I mean, he's going to have morons like us talking about him on our podcast, but it's not like he's going to win a $10 million prize. He's just going to be able to stop walking from that point on.
It is always interesting, too, when you think about people and what their motivations might be. And for whatever reason he wanted to do this, right? This is something he embarked on.
Mm-hmm.
And you tip your cap to a guy like that. But then you want to figure out the reason why.
Why?
What was the inspiration, or what was the reasoning behind it? Because you think about, okay, for instance, on our show, on Garage Logic, we have the traveling linemen,
Sure.
right? They cap off the end of every show because they're world travelers, but they're staying in hotels. Mm-hmm. They're taking flights, and
Sure.
they're doing it the
walking.
normal way. And then you think about a guy like this. So how do you even prepare for eating? Or where are you going to sleep that night?
The photos that accompany the story show him pushing like a glorified 3-wheel shopping cart, right? So he's got his stuff there, his tent and his bags. But that seems like a long walk. There's a lot of things you can do in this life, a lot of things you can do in this life. God bless him for finding his passion. I do think it's a little weird. It's a lot of, what's really great about that is it's not happening right now. You know why, Reavers? Because he would have walked his ass all the way up from Chile and he would have gotten to our border and we would have said, not on Donald Trump's America. You are not crossing that border. Go back, get your ass back to Chile. We don't care.
Well, he is stuck in Mexico.
Yeah, but then he's going to fly back to Turkey once he gets his visa, right? And then do this little Turkey. And I assume Hull is somewhere in Britain.
But okay, in this stretch,
Mexico, yeah.
Well, but not only that, but during this stretch, unless he had $1 billion tucked away, how are you earning any money to even keep yourself alive?
Does he have? Could we have him on the podcast? Does he have a cell phone?
A sponsorship, maybe.
Well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do that, right?
No. I mean,
maybe
that's but maybe that's how he's getting by. Is he's being sponsored?
He doesn't have a bunch of logos on his stuff.
Okay,
right? You'd think North Face would say, "Hey, you've been camping since 1998.
Sure,
let's go ahead and do this." But I mean, does all the things that he missed? If he's walking every day, has he used a computer very often?
True.
Does he have a cell phone? Has he heard of internet pornography?
I mean, do you get cell phone service in the Bering Strait?
In Azerbaijan and the Bering Strait?
I don't even know how that works.
I don't know. Very impressive. God bless him. We'll have to keep more of a maybe there's a tracker. Maybe he has a tracker, one of those websites that says where he is.
Oh, yeah.
And we could track
like
him
the Santa tracker, yeah.
He's not going to finish till next year, coming up in September next year. We could go visit him.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know. Escape with Us Vacations could put us on a plane,
Not
get us
bad.
out there.
Okay.
Right? We could do that. Or we could just at least talk to him and say, what happened to you, son? What?
Who wronged you?
What happened? What girl said, you know what? You are not as handsome as I thought. And he said, you know what, Cheryl? And he just got up and started walking.
Yeah.
Because there's only
bleep you, Cheryl.
Two things you would do this for. Money. He's not doing it for money. And chicks. There's got to be a bad chick story in the background. There can't be just, I went for a 36,000-mile walk.
Well, because, if you want to get down into it here, the thing I thought about as I was reading the story and seeing some of the accompanying photos, I immediately thought, boy, I bet that's not a good smell. I mean, and trust me, I was out all weekend working in the heat, and again, this is why I have an inside job where I get to sit down, because I don't like those kinds of jobs, and I was a sweaty disaster, and so I can't even. And that was just One day. And and the first thing I do is come home, take a shower, and sit in the air
So
conditioning.
you said you walked like 30,000 steps that
Yeah,
day.
and I was sitting here bragging about the fact that I put on 31,000 steps in 24 hours.
It didn't say what his average amount of steps per day was or how many miles he did a day. But, I mean, it's got to be a fairly substantial amount of miles.
Well, 'cause-
36,000 divided by, it's been 27 years. So 35,000 divided by 27, divided by 365.
Oh, boy. Okay, hold on.
Okay, hold on. I'll do it. Let me do it.
Well, no, because I was actually just trying to do the math because on my step counter.
35,000 divided by 365 days, divided by 27, that's 3.5 miles a day.
Okay, so 16,000 steps is roughly 8 miles.
Okay. So
And I only said that because I got 16,000
So
yesterday.
he's doing less steps per day than I am. Now I'm thinking this guy's kind of lazy.
Shut up your game. Well, no wonder you originally thought it was going to take you 12 years and it took you 27.
Yeah. Start walking.
But,
go a little further.
Using the pandemic as an excuse, by the way, on a journey you started in 1998.
But he was like
little...
deep in Asia during the pandemic. Like he was maybe, oh my God, maybe he was the guy that was at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Well, that's a good
And he
point.
brought this right into all of Europe.
No, but you think about this, though. Wherever he wasn't allowed to go anywhere.
No.
Because you've heard the interview when the Lymans came in studio, right?
I think it's one of the most fascinating stories. Tell the story again because I think it's the most fascinating story about a couple's experience during the pandemic that I've ever heard.
So they decided to just sell everything and they wanted to travel the world. They had both just, I believe, recently retired and they had some money put away and they had, obviously, they had grandkids and their kids were pretty much good to go. And then they just said, they set out on this journey. And they wanted to travel all these different parts of the world. And I remember when the pandemic first struck, I don't want to give the wrong country, but the country that they were in, they were in India. Okay. Yeah. They had basically had to isolate inside this hotel because if they had tested positive,
let me tell you the story. Let me tell you because I know the story by heart because I really paid a lot of attention. They were in India and they were at a Marriott. And the Marriott basically closed. They were one of the very few guests at the Marriott because since they were staying at the Marriott when the pandemic started, the Marriott felt compelled to let them stay there during this thing. And they were there for a while and they didn't know how long they were going to be. They ate the same meal every single day. Yeah. And I think it was like chicken fettuccine every day, right? And at one point in time, one of the Lymans, Mr. Lyman, walked outside to pick up a package from Amazon.
An Amazon package.
And when he turned around, the guy at the front door of the hotel, of the Marriott, took his temperature and said, if your temperature isn't within parameters, you can't come back into the hotel.
Even though you had just
Even though you've been literally staying at the hotel. Now, I think they stayed there 9 months in this hotel.
Yeah.
Not 9 weeks, not 9 days.
It was a
9
significant
months.
amount of time. Yeah.
And I think that story of him just saying, I'm going to just run out and grab this package. And then as he came back, the guard was saying, no, we got to make sure you're okay. And just think your wife would be in the hotel, you're stuck outside the hotel in India there's no travel. You know, we all remember what happened during COVID.
Yep. I
mean, that was a really incredible story. When I heard that, my heart just dropped. So if you want to follow the story a little bit, because let's give them a little bit of a hit. Worldwide waftage. So worldwide, and then waftage is WAFTAGE.com. That's worldwidewaftage.com. It is an amazing story. They did not walk around the world,
no,
like this other guy, but they're doing it with a little bit more style. I think they're where they are. Mpumalanga, where are they now? Do you know?
Mpumalanga, South Africa.
Okay, that's where they're at.
That's one of their favorite
they seem
spots.
To like that. That must be pretty soft there.
Yeah,
because they like that a lot there.
They do, and they're also just world class people. They're really really good people. So anyway,
Frat Packer.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right. Let's talk about our friends at We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com right now. And just, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about this. You only have a couple more days to take advantage of this fantastic special going on where you get $10 off the famous Best of Toffee Nuts Nut House 4-pack. You have to use the discount code GLNuthouse. Again, this only runs through the end of the month of July, so you only have a couple days to take advantage of this. But it's the Best of Toffee Nuts Nut House 4-pack, which includes maple bourbon toffee almonds, the original toffee peanuts, the cinnamon toasted toffee peanuts, and the hot nuts toffee peanuts. That that is available right now by going to wearenutsmn.com and enter the promo code GLNuthouse. And thank you to all of you frat packers that continue to post the photos, including which location? I just saw it this morning.
I think it was at our Andover store,
which is just awesome. I love that it's
it was St. Louis Park. Totally lied.
Okay. I would have believed you.
Well, a guy comes in. You see all of his plumbing project that he has, and then jars of We Are Nuts in his cart. I was like, oh, that's just so cool.
That's fantastic. So cool. So stop at any one of your Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores locations, Lunds and Byerly's, Max Hardware, also carrying the We Are Nuts brand. And we're really glad that they're a part of the Weekly Scramble team.
Let me tell you a little story about Max, right? Max is up north. They're in Fargo, Olivia, Minnesota, Albany, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, all this stuff.
Sure.
I talked to the guy who runs those stores. People hear our ads on this show. I truly think that GL and the GL Garage Logic Network, our show and the Weekly Scramble, GL and the Weekly Scramble, it's all of the Midwest. Because it is odd that they would be experiencing so many people coming in to get We Are Nuts there.
That's so cool.
So, I mean, it's just, I know we know where our listeners are, like they're Midwest, but I don't think we know how many people are in Sioux Falls and how many people are in Fargo.
Can we expand on that in a minute? Because I'm glad you brought that up. Can we expand upon that on the other side of this break?
Sure.
Because I've got something I want to share with you. But again, wearenutsmn.com and the Weekly Scramble. We will be right back. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm glad that you brought that up because there was one thing I wanted to mention. And I give Joe crap about this all the time. But whether I'm at a town ball game, for instance, this is not hyperbole. This is not a town ball story, even though it kind of is. I run into a listener every single time I have a town ball game because, again, our schedule is pretty easy to look up, and I'm everyone knows who I am on the team, and it's always great. So I've met a ton of people that listen to both our show and Garage Logic. But when you get away from the country's tallest buildings, we got a lot of people out there, man.
Sure.
I remember the youngest boy and I. We had a baseball tournament. This was not this summer, but it was last summer. And so we go out to the middle of, God, where were we? We were on our way. I stopped to get gas. It was in Olivia. That's what made me think about it. We were in Olivia, Minnesota, the corn capital of the world, the big corn cob silo. And a guy said, Are you Reavers? And I said, oh my God, like how does somebody at the Casey's gas station in Olivia, Minnesota?
That's a nice Casey's though.
No, exactly. Yeah. But it was just so weird. So when you were saying that, how people were supporting places like Max, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever because I constantly run into people that.
Yeah, I knew that. So, as a longtime advertiser on GL, right? Our company advertised on GL for years. We sponsored the GL podcast for years, love it and loved everything about it. We knew that the vast majority of people listened here, but I think there's an equal amount of people that listen outside of the Twin Cities.
Oh, no question.
And I find it super, super cool and super fascinating.
When I went down to Harmony, Minnesota for 4th of July to go visit the guys at Harmony Spirits, because I didn't really have any plans for the 4th of July, and it was the rare time that neither one of my kids had a game. And
you love a car ride?
And I love a good car ride. So I went down in the morning, and I was driving on my way to Harmony, and I was driving, what was the city? But it was Dave's Barber Shop.
Okay.
Right there is that Highway 30? I think it is. But you go south of Rochester, and you basically just keep going till right before you hit Iowa.
I believe you.
And here's Dave's Barber Shop. He's got the American flag, the old state of Minnesota flag, and the GL flag.
Please tell me you pulled over and went in there and got a haircut.
I was 100% going to do that. He wasn't open.
Sure.
So this is 4th of July.
You should have just smashed through his doors.
I don't think Dave would have appreciated that.
Left them, or taken a picture.
Hold on. Chatfield, Minnesota.
Chatfield, okay. Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
So I did.
I know some people from Chatfield, believe it or not.
Okay. So I'm about to pull up to the stop sign. I got to see what highway that is. Hold on. It'll make the story much better. Trust me. Because the street sign is here. It is Highway 30. It's at the intersection of Highway 30 and County Road 2.
What's the name of the place?
Dave's Barber Shop.
So I bet you Dave owns it.
I'm assuming so.
Well, thanks, Dave, for being a listener. How cool is that?
But it was cool. So I stopped. It's this cute little town, charming. I shouldn't say cute, charming little town. And I was at the stoplight, and I saw the flag. I went, well, I gotta take a picture of this.
Sure.
And I was 100% going to go in and get a haircut. But he wasn't open.
Well, Dave, if you are a frat packer, please post that on the Frat Pack 5000 on Facebook.
With your jar of We Are Nuts. No,
with your jar of We Are Nuts.
I'm kidding.
And some Harmony Spirits.
Why not?
And some Connecticut water.
Why not?
And probably a car that Royce does for whoever.
But in addition to that, and then I did not tell the guys from Harmony Spirits that I was coming. I just came unannounced. and stopped in, and Larry goes, "What are you doing down here?" You know, but I said, "Came to support my guys.
Yeah,
Come on."
tripping.
But it was just cool, and then running into a bunch of different people that obviously recognized who I was and said, "You actually come?" I go, "Yeah, I frequent the places that sponsor the show. Of course I do."
Absolutely.
Anyway, but it was just cool, and I got to tell you, because I tell Joe this all the time. Just get out of here for a little bit. Just get away from the city.
Yep.
Get in your car. You love driving your British crap can. Get in the car and just go drive it on the county roads out in the middle of nowhere.
Maybe that's why he doesn't do it.
Why?
Because he's driving a British car, which are notoriously poor performers.
Sure.
Right? The British can't
But
do
he's
a
also
lot.
got ones that do perform.
Yeah,
so
but maybe he takes one of these old ones. He gets 11 miles out of town. And what is his wife going to come get him? He's going to have to call you.
Oh, damn, it would be
Right?
my responsibility.
Come pick me
then,
up.
wouldn't it?
Or
Oh.
he's not going to call Rookie.
No.
We know that because
No.
Rookie's car's not making 11 miles either.
Probably isn't calling Patrick either, and Kenny wouldn't even answer the phone.
There you go.
Yeah, it probably
Kenny would be the one
my,
who could maybe help him fix it.
It would end up becoming my responsibility. Okay, so I kind of teased this at the beginning of the show, but I wanted to say thank you so much to all of the listeners of our show that reached out with just kind of a thoughtful note about, we got a little heavy last Thursday on the show. It was in the wake of the death of Ozzy Osbourne, and then it kind of transformed into a conversation just about life and everything else, and dealing with stuff, right?
And you had a lot going on.
And I got some things going on. And so I can't tell you how appreciative I am to everybody. And I will 100%, I promise I will get back to each and every single one of you. It's taken me a while because I got so much great feedback via email. So I really appreciate that. And one of the emails I wanted to get to was from Rob. And it's pretty cool because, when I tell a story, it's funny how much or how many other people can kind of relate to that situation because, at one point, a lot of us have been parents. Every one of us has been a kid.
Sure.
So it's like you kind of relate to, oh yeah, you're just at different stages of your life, and I don't want, because Rob gave me some pretty personal stuff on here, so I won't repeat that to the listener. But basically, his note was, my boys are a lot older now, and I would give anything to hit the rewind button and be able to go to one more, youth baseball tournament or whatever. And it's funny because that's what I get from a lot of the people that I'm involved with volunteering and whatnot, that just, they'll see me and they'll see my son or one of my sons and they'll say, I miss it. And as much as, oh God, I don't want to get in the car and drive to Chatfield this weekend and go to a baseball tournament. But then it's at one point, there's no more games to go to, right?
There's that sad adage that someday you're going to pick up your child for the last time.
Oh, I know.
Right? And there, so I have 2 little girls, or 3 girls, and thinking about lifting them up for the last time. And I don't remember the day I did it, but I'm sure there was a day where I leaned down, picked them up, gave them a hug and kiss, put them down. I sure gave them a hug and kiss the next time, but I never picked them up again. I'm like, what a weird time. And it's, all my girls play volleyball, and I bitched about every time. And, bitched is a real relative term. I don't want to go down to, there's a little bar down in Wanamingo, Minnesota, that has a couple of sand volleyball courts.
Okay.
And we'd have these Wanamingo, Minnesota weekend volleyball tournaments. And I said, I don't want to spend my weekend at a Wanamingo bar Saturday and Sunday all day. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And I would go down there for a while, and then I'd drive back and pick them up, or they would drive, whatever. I just couldn't do it all day. And if I had to go do it tomorrow, I would love it.
Yeah.
Right? I would love it. And this wasn't that long ago. I mean, this is, 2 years ago I was doing this. And they were some of the best times in my life, while at the same time thinking, what the hell am I doing in Wanamingo?
Well, and you're now, approaching the next step. Where you
retirement?
No.
I was like, holy shit.
No,
yes.
the next step of, you got to drop them off at school.
I know.
Here relatively
1
soon.
month.
And
1 month.
I don't even know how I'm going to handle that, because I'm going to be a mess when that comes.
Let me tell you a little story. So I have an older daughter named Harper. She's going to go to USC, University of South Carolina.
Okay.
Right? Not California, University of South Carolina. She's going to become a Gamecock, which is super cool. And so I asked her, because she got into a bunch of great schools, right? She's a real smart kid. She's way out of my league.
Sure.
And I said, how'd you pick this school? And she's like, I don't know. And I said, well, do you like the South? Well, I think so. I said, well, does it have your program? Yeah, I'm 90% sure they do. Honest to God, Reavers, she just spent, it's going to be $400,000, all things said and done. So for 4 years, roughly $100,000 a year. That's not free. Just FYI, that's not free. And she did a little bit of investigating, But I thought, you just picked this school, and her and her mother went down and visited Clemson, and she got into Clemson and got into USC and a bunch of other great schools. And I didn't know anything about University of South Carolina. I didn't know anything about the Gamecocks. I know they probably play in the SEC. I don't even know who they play. Right?
Yes, I believe they are in the SEC.
I think so. And so I'm excited to go.
ACC. Whatever.
A good Southern League, right? The football will be great. So all I'm excited for is to go down there for parents, like when we move her in, and then parents weekend. And my wife gives me the story, hey, I got our hotel for the parents weekend. I said, oh, great. What hotel did you get? And she goes, it's a Holiday Inn or something on campus. I said, great. How much was it? $1,100 a night. I said, well,
wait a minute.
I said, what are you doing? I'm not spending $1,100 to stay at a Holiday Inn. She goes, well, we want to stay on campus. And I'm like, actually, let's buy a motorcycle down there because we're going to be down there for 5 nights. So it's going to be $6,000 worth of hotel rooms.
Or
you
could have your buddy Reavers drive down to South Carolina
and just stay in your car.
Personal chauffeur, huh?
Yeah, we could stay 6 miles away from campus. So if there's any frat packers out there that know anything about USC, let me know. If you went there, I've heard nothing but great things.
So that's the thing. We did South Carolina. We did, is it Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
Yeah.
For a spring break. Oh, what year was that? Was that 2022?
You liked it there.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. I can tell in the summer it's probably going to get a little sticky, but that's the part of the country. But it was beautiful. We stayed right in the ocean.
Sure.
It was beautiful.
This is not in the ocean. This is an hour in Columbia.
Columbia, thank you. Columbia, South Carolina. But the area I thought was really neat. I enjoyed it.
Supposedly it's an okay town. Okay, I'm venting here for a little bit, right? Okay. So my daughter was
They are in the SEC. I know you were very concerned.
Well, at least there'll be some fun football games,
there you
right?
go.
So I'm excited for that. And they said tailgating's unbelievable. It's going to be great. We'll definitely plan doing that. But she is a Minnesota gal, my daughter Harper. She likes to wear sweatshirts in the summertime. She's like a rapid in, big sweatshirts in the wintertime. And so on Sunday, she went to the final day of the 3M Open, which was super exciting. Do you remember that? It was like 95 degrees.
Yeah, it was warm.
I thought she was going to faint and die. And then she gets back and she's like, it was so hot. Her face is all flush. And I quickly jumped onto my phone and I said, well, right now at USC, it's 99 degrees. It's 4 degrees warmer. And she's like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, it's the South, honey. So when you go further south,
it gets warmer.
It's going to get warmer. And I hope she can make it. She had definitely heard when they went and visited a lot of people calling her ma'am. And she's like, I didn't quite get people calling me ma'am because it's the South. And I said, you're from the North. And it's really neat, Reavers. What they do is they get everybody on this group text or this group Instagram thing. And you meet your friends through Instagram and who you're going to live with. So she knows her 3 other roommates. She's going to have a room for 4 girls.
Yep.
And she knows those girls and they're planning on doing all this stuff. And you can look back at their Instagram and say, I've seen 400 pictures of these girls. I kind of know what they're about. I know what music they like. Truly, do I know anybody from their social media? Maybe not. But at least you have an inkling of what kind of girls they are. And it's so different than what it was when we went to school.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I remember when I moved to Mankato, I remember finding out who my roommate was going to be, and we basically had one phone conversation.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was like, oh, all right. And that didn't really work out.
He said he was a horrible kisser, I thought.
No, it was more that
because
Gage Hall. I'll let you in. So Gage Towers, where the Vikings used to stay for training camp. You had a room that had 2 beds in it, right? 2 lofts basically in it, and I thought everything was fine, and he didn't really like the fact that he thought it was more like his room than it was our room.
Sure.
And so there was a lot of times where he'd have company.
Oh, good.
And I wasn't allowed to go in. It's like, well, I kind of want to not.
Didn't you take one for the team?
I always did.
Okay.
That was the problem.
I was going to say, you kind of got, it was a little too much.
It was often. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
It was very often. And then to the point where it's like, I don't know what to do here. But then he ended up moving out. And then I had my own room for almost like 3 months of the school year.
Oh, okay.
So he had decided to move. I think he ended up moving back home. I don't know if it was an academic issue or whatever. And he ended up moving back home while still going to school there.
Okay.
But then I basically had my own room for like 3 months. It was awesome. And then at the very end of the year, they moved a kid from another hall to my room, and he was awesome.
Sure.
But we only lived together for like a month.
And he was a nerd like you, so he wasn't getting laid ever. So it was super easy. Made it super, super fun.
Completely easy.
You're like, you want to play Dungeons and Dragons again? Yes, I do.
Oh, hey, I'm watching the Mets play San Diego.
I did.
Okay, nerd.
I was watching some posts today, or saw some posts today of how we ever got Minnesota Vikings professional football players to stay in Gage Hall is unstinking believable.
And you talk about the heat, because that's the thing, the ventilation in that building. Well, first of all, there's a reason they blew it up, because it had asbestos everywhere.
Sure.
And even if you had like an air conditioning unit that fit into the slot
window,
in the window, it didn't do much.
Sure.
And it was miserable there.
How did they get?
I don't know.
So, I mean, you're trying to get the best talent. And, oh, by the way, every single person that plays on the Vikings is a show pony. Right? They are the best of the best. You want to brush it. You want to make sure its feet are good. You want everything to be strong about it. And then you say, hey, go hop into this crappy dorm room, the crappiest of dorm rooms.
The crappiest.
You have to bring your own air conditioning. Like, they'd bring their own air conditioning units.
Yep.
And so I wonder if those guys liked it. Is it the same thing? Do they, in retrospect, do they think those were the best times of my life?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and
Isn't that funny?
As they're in their mansions now, thinking, I miss hanging out with my boys.
Life was so much simpler,
It really,
right? They had
it really
PlayStations.
was. Let's talk about making life simple with our friends at North American Banking Company. One simple philosophy at nabankco.com. It's banking done differently. And you get that feeling anytime that you walk into any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They made a promise to their customers back in 1998. Much like the guy that just started his expedition.
Yes.
They made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since 1998, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So check them out online today and find out more. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. The Weekly Scramble. I wanted to end the show today, Mike, with a couple of things. Number one, I'll tell you what. Option 1 or option 2?
Let's go option 2.
I had a feeling that was going to be your answer, and I'm glad you picked that one. So you were talking earlier in the show today about the power of advertising, and we probably should have started with this, but I want to get to it anyway. You're familiar with the actress known as Sydney Sweeney, correct?
She's quite the asset to the acting world.
Are you aware of the latest controversy surrounding Miss Sydney Sweeney?
If this is a controversy, I don't understand the definition of controversy.
So for those of you unfamiliar, she is in an ad for, is it American Eagle jeans? She's in an ad where she's marketing jeans, like the classy look. And gentlemen, if you haven't seen the commercial yet, she gets out of a Ford Mustang where she appears to be working at it and then wipes whatever the oil stain is on the backside of her jeans. And just do yourself a favor and you can thank me later. But now there's a bunch of people out there, mostly women who tend to lean to the left side of the political aisle. And they're very upset with her, basically saying that this is going backwards and women should be right with whatever body they have. And I'm just thinking, wait a minute. Everything about this ad is just apple pie, baseball, Chevrolet. It's like, even though it's a Ford Mustang, but you get what I'm saying. What is wrong with this ad? I don't get it.
Well, I love how
obviously it's jealousy. There's no doubt about that. There's an element of jealousy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, sex sells, right? And is it people that are jealous of Sydney Sweeney? Sydney Sweeney, if you don't know her, she has big boobs. She's pretty. She's kind of pretty. She's not like the world's most gorgeous woman, but she has a very voluptuous body, right? And
I ain't kicking her out of bed for eating crackers.
No. And part of the wordplay in the ad is great genes, like not Geans, but Genes.
Correct.
Right? Great genes. And I just don't know why people have to bitch about stuff like this. So what?
I do.
Why?
Because people just want to bitch. That's why.
So they said Threads accused American Eagle, that's the company that ran this ad, of promoting eugenics, white supremacy, and Nazi propaganda because they showed a girl with big boobs who's kind of pretty wearing their jeans. You know, let me ask you this, Reavers.
Please.
We know that if you run an ad with Sydney Sweeney, some people watch it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Millions of people watch it. If you run an ad with Sydney Sweeney and half the world freaks out about it, 5 times more people will see it. I would have never seen this ad.
That's a good point.
Right? I'm not in the demographic who buys jeans from American Eagle jeans.
Can I just correct one thing?
Yes.
Just on my behalf?
Yes.
I would have seen it.
You would have seen
even
this.
if there wasn't controversy.
Because you have a Google alert that says any new picture of Sydney Sweeney you need to see. I don't get why people can't just leave people alone. And oh, by the way, if you think American Eagle is doing something white supremacist, eugenic, Nazi propaganda, if you think that, don't buy their jeans there. But here's one thing I guarantee you. They don't sell your size jeans there. I guarantee you. Because the fat person who's sitting on their ass complaining about Sydney Sweeney can't buy jeans there anyways. And oh, by the way, they don't want you in there. They want 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 14-year-olds. They don't want 38-year-old
But I guess
people.
the bigger question that I have regarding this quote-unquote controversy, whatever,
Okay.
but I guess the bigger question that I have surrounding this quote-unquote controversy is, okay, I'm sure that this has always been a thing where let's go back, because in fact, in that accompanying story that I saw, someone posted a Brooke Shields jeans ad from like 1980, whatever it was, right? And so I'm sure that back in 1980, whatever it was, someone saw that and went, well, that's just not right. The problem is back then, there wasn't social media for them to vent their frustration and thus for the entire free world to see. So I'm going to guess that same anger and hatred and vitriol was probably existent back then like it is today. The problem is it's just more accessible to see for the rest of us because now social media exists.
You are 100% right, Rivers. Let me tell you a little story about TikTok. TikTok is a Chinese propagandist, communist Chinese propaganda machine. I have a TikTok account, just FYI. My daughter took a video of me shaking my head back and forth, looking at my phone. In 1 hour, it had 17,000 views.
What?
It was, I was like, honey, why did that get so many views? And she's like, sometimes the algorithm just grabs it. So when someone says, Sydney Sweeney is a Nazi propagandist because she has big boobs, and they put it on TikTok, and the algorithm kicks in, and 8 million people see it, well, the Star Tribune doesn't have 8 million people reading a Star Tribune. Not in a month.
Garbage headlines like they did yesterday.
Not in the garbage headlines, exactly. It's just, you are totally right. We have the power with our phones to be the strongest media advocate or propagandist we want to be.
As long as you've went there too. The other thing that I don't understand, and I think I mentioned part of this when Livy Dunn and I went to the Twins game together the other night. Yeah. But I don't follow her, but I see stuff from her often just because I'm on social media quite a bit because of this job. Yeah. And the thing I don't get, she's an influencer. There's no doubt about it. I get that she has power that I will never have. More things than one. Anyway, my point is, what I don't get are the clips that she's posting is like 10-second clips that are on, they're on loop. Sure. And it's her mouthing the words to like a rap song where it's a caption of not going to do that today, like enroll the guy.
Yep.
Why is that? Why do people want to consume that kind of product?
I don't know, but my daughters are on TikTok or Snapchat all day, every day. All day, every day. They make fun of me. I'll say, have you seen this trend? And like, Dad, that was 11 months ago, right? And we are now consuming things in 10-second chunks, and we are getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And not just my children, me included. I'm just getting dumber. That's just how we're doing it, because we're not doing anything intellectually tough anymore. We're doing the most basic stuff. I do have something that was tough. My wife and I went golfing the other day, right?
Oh, that's
and
nice.
She comes up to me, she goes, "Oh my God, I got stung by a bee." And I said, "Where?" And she goes, "Between hole number 1 and hole number 2. And I said, "Honey, I keep telling you this. Your stance is just too wide. Your stance is too wide."
Just gotta
close her stance up a little bit. That's a good joke. Reavers, you are the best. I'm glad you got such great feedback from that show. Thank you, everybody that's listening. Find us on YouTube. Follow us on social medias. Find us on the Frat Pack. Befriend me on social media. we got to do all this stuff. We got to do this at the beginning of the show because people probably don't. Maybe they're waiting for my great jokes.
See, that's probably what it is.
Okay, Reavers, you are the best.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael said, please follow us on social media. Please find us on the YouTube channel. And also, don't forget to rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It truly does help us out, and we really do appreciate it. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.